One thing that has remained on the priority list of the Borno State government under the administration of Professor Babagana Zulum is the rehabilitation and resettlement of IDPs as the state battles lingering Boko Haram insurgency. And with the closure of some IDP camps in the state, the government is not relenting in its quest to meet the needs of vulnerable persons. Welcome to Borno Restoration. I'm Jessie Tafida. But first, let's bring you Borno Today. Nigeria is highly susceptible to disruptions in the global economy due to the humanitarian crisis bedeviling the country and recently the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Available data shows that over 80 million people now fall within the class of those suffering extreme poverty in Nigeria, representing almost 40% of the country's population of over 200 million. At this hall are economic experts from across the country. They are here to chart workable means of overcoming the economic challenges facing the nation. They will also brainstorm on economic inadequacies which affect the growth and development of the country with a view to evolving a pragmatic solution.
It has become a matter of strategic imperative for the state and local governments across the country to vigorously and independently pursue the idea of diversification of their local economies and also involve an effective and result-oriented tax regime.
At the end of this program, a communique will be issued, which will be forwarded to the National Economic Council, whose chairman is the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Peace has returned to Borno State, and people are coming to showcase what is happening in Borno. At least it will boost the image of the state.
Speakers at the meeting see the crisis in the Northeast region as one of the biggest challenges the country has to deal with so as to grow its economy. They believe that the challenge can be surmounted through effective collaboration between government and other sectors.
There are oases of positivity in a lot of things that are happening here. Our universities will always relate with them, either in the production of the personnel or in research.
We are working together to alleviate suffering and save lives of people affected by 12 years of conflict in the 3 states in a comprehensive and sustainable manner.
The theme of the 20th edition of the Economic Summit is Managing the Nigerian Economy for Sustainable Development in a Challenging Environment. Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has inducted 1,000 hunters freshly engaged to join existing ones in the ongoing fight against Boko Haram. The hunters are to provide dedicated protection to farmers who cultivate crops in the outskirts of Jere, where over 70 farmers were killed in November 2020, as well as farms in parts of Maiduguri metropolis, Kwanduga, and Mafa local government areas. Governor Zulum has since 2019 engaged the services of thousands of hunters drawn from different parts of northern Nigeria to join volunteers in the civilian JTF and vigilantes. The governor also increased the automated monthly allowances of all volunteers, provided kits, surveillance tools, and allocated hundreds of vehicles to units in all of Borno's 27 local government areas. Induction of the latest 1,000 edition of hunters was done at Gongolon wards weeks after each of them completed security vetting by the DSS and the military. President Mohamed Bazoum of the Republic of Niger has decorated Borno Governor Babagana Umar Zulum with the country's second-order national honor, the equivalent to GCON in Nigeria's ranking of national honors. President Bazoum said he was honoring Governor Zulum after monitoring the governor's courage, sincere fight against Boko Haram, deep concern on the plight of Borno citizens taking refuge in parts of Niger Republic, which Governor Zulum has visited a number of times, offering support and steadily evacuating and resettling the refugees in new houses built in Borno. The decoration was performed in Zidar as part of event lined up by the federal government of Niger to celebrate the country's Independence Day. It is the first time a Nigerian president will honor a Nigerian governor with the country's second highest national award. Borno State is one of the states in the northeast most affected by the Boko Haram insurgency, causing serious humanitarian crisis. But the government has been resolute in its rehabilitation and resettlement drive of the IDPs as it intensifies efforts to close all IDP camps in the state this year. I'm at NYSC IDP camp, and as you can see, it is the shadow of itself because IDPs from this camp have been resettled to Auno community, where the state government has provided basic amenities to them to start all over again. Let's take this report.
governor has done to us has really put smiles on our faces. We never thought such a time would come for us to be resettled back to our places of abode. After all we went through, I sincerely want to appreciate Governor Babagana Zulum for bringing us back home. We are hopeful to start our lives back again.
In Kalari is another housing project inaugurated by Governor Zulum. These 1,000 blocks of houses are meant to advance the state's resettlement agenda for IDPs. So far, more than 5,000 houses have been constructed and about 7 communities have been resettled.
Is ongoing across the state, and this is in line with the fact that government went to resettle most of the displaced communities. Government went to return our IDPs to ancestral and traditional home, and that is why you can see a lot of construction is going on across the state. This is one of them. Here, Kalari, we constructed about 1,020 houses, and therefore it is a giant strike towards resettling our people. Well, we are so far able to resettle about 7 communities. That's cut across Marte, about 1,200 households. We have also resettled Baga, the major fishing town in Borno State. We have also resettled Benki town, which we brought some refugees from Cameroon and some IDPs in Meduguri and Bama. We have also resettled town of Kauri in Kondoga local government. We have resettled Ajiri in Mafalo. So many communities have been resettled so far, and that is why the construction is going on across the state for us to resettle more communities. As you can see, the security situation is improving across the state. The government is trying to see that we almost resettle all displaced communities before the end of this term, God willing.
With the success recorded so far, Governor Zulum is not resting on his oars. The governor has continued to reach out to relevant institutions and collaborate with the federal government and others beyond the shores of Nigeria. He met with the President of Niger Republic, Mohamed Bazoum, in Diffa to discuss the return of refugees to Borno State. With significant improvement regarding the security situation in Borno State, the people are now looking forward to returning to their communities, and Governor Zulum has been working passionately to safely resettle all displaced persons in the shortest possible time. As the Borno State government continued to intensify efforts in its resettlement and rehabilitation of IDPs, victims of insurgency and ravaged communities, join me as I engage the Director General of the State Emergency Management Agency, Yaba Okolo, on how this initiative has impacted vulnerable persons in the state. Welcome to Borno Restoration. As the Director General of SEMA, can you talk us through the state of IDPs in the state so far?
Thank you so much for the question, and also welcoming our viewers at home or wherever. So far so good. The state of the IDP, in some IDP camps, they have stayed as long as almost close to a decade. Some have stayed almost 7 years, and we observe that this they are staying without closing, ensuring protracted conflict, and without developing any other framework or alternative for them is not sustainable for both government, international donor partners, and others. So in this light, we say let us bring an end to the stay in the IDP camp. If you observe government, especially of Professor Governor Umara Zulum MNI, since he assumed office, his passionate, clear desire is to see that IDP have returned to their either ancestral home or where it is relatively safe. And in view of this, SEMA being one of the agency, being the custodian of the IDP, we started working very assiduously alongside other committee that His Excellency has mandated to close the camp, to see how best we can close the camp. And the closure of the camp now, it is two-edged sword. One is to ensure that IDPs, since they have developed resilience, they have survived, developed resilience beyond the imagination of human thinking. So it is very important for us as professionals, experts in different fields, to see that beyond the resilience, what happens next? The next level is for them to lift themselves out of poverty and also develop dignity in their ancestral home, neutral location, or community or host community integration. So now is for us to see that they sustain themselves and also ensure that these IDPs, internally displaced persons, now we call them returnees or returning IDP to their ancestral home, to have what they do as livelihood opportunities, and also to have others, especially basic facilities that will ensure their survival and dignified living, as encapsulated in some of the UN guiding principles of return and also the Kampala Convention.
Now, we'd like to know how many IDPs has the state host since the beginning of the insurgency?
From the northeast, where the conflict has ravaged the sub-region, and from all the statistics, that of Borno State is very alarming. We are the epicenter, and so far so good. From the 2 million IDPs that have been courted by partners and other government MDAs that are responsible for statistics, almost 80% is from Borno State. And out of the 80%, officially, in the official camps, we have 1,238,780 internally displaced persons under the custody of SEMA. And apart from these ones, we also have 14 recognized large host community IDP camps like Bushari, A2E, Cheskon, Garba Buzu, Muhammadu Buhari. Behind the mega school, we have places like Haruna Halana, we have El Meskin, and few others that are officially recognized, and they are quite huge in number, that are integrated already in the host community.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what support has the Borno State government given to these IDPs since their stay in the state?
Since their stay in the state, the IDPs, they have enjoyed tremendous support from the state government. The state government, for instance, typically in the feeding arrangement, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, through the MDAs operating in the state, like NEMA, like Northeast Commission, like Refugee Commission, you observe that in the feeding arrangement, NEMA is to provide the assorted grains, and the state government is to give them the condiments. So you can see in the feeding arrangement is only one aspect of the camp living, and we have other vibrant 14 working sectors to ensure that IDP live in very good conditions even in the camps. For instance, health working sector, education working sector, where we have education in the box. We also have education in the container before we even graduated to the level of having education in emergencies, where when you go to the camps, you will observe that we have learning spaces like schools in the camps where we provide education. In addition to that, working in emergency also make us to plan for pending emergencies that you may witness seasonally, like when we have the rainy season, you have cholera outbreaks sometimes, and sometimes other issues like malaria, sometimes flooding. So the government, since we established the camps through these working sectors, all the sectors are being led by government MDS, then co-led by UN system or INGO partners. For instance, education is co-led by UNICEF, while government is leading through the Ministry of Education. And we also have the protection sector, of which I was the pioneer chairman of that working sector. And under the protection working sector, in order to ensure that the rights of fundamental rights of the IDPs are protected, we work closely with FIDA, that is Federation of Women Lawyers. We work closely with MBA, Nigerian Bar Association. We also work closely with Legal Aid Council to see that issues of gender and inclusion, diversity, age, vulnerability, all are captured, especially the attention is given. For instance, when we have distribution, especially physical distribution of food or non-food items, we have our criteria of ensuring that the aged, pregnant women, lactating mothers, female-headed household, adolescent girls, we serve them first, all to ensure that we respect the principles of diversity, age, and gender.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, the state government is giving aid to these IDPs through your agency.
Yeah.
How do you go to volatile areas to ensure that you meet the needs of those displaced in such areas?
It's one of our Herculean tasks that whenever we have activity in deep field locations, we don't do it alone. Luckily enough for us, we have one small group like task force that is called civil military relationship. Then we go and look for military assistance. We usually seek for heavy escort, and they always advise us that when we have a lot of food items or not food items, we need to break the convoy. Like they will not allow more than 15 trucks at a go, so that they will give us adequate security cover, about 4 or 5 gun trucks and other heavy machineries, that in the event of any attack, at least we are protected. And we witnessed a lot of attack. If you remember, we were even attacked along the convoy of His Excellency. So you can see how threatening it is when you want to deliver, especially aid in deep field location. And sometimes we use the reference maps. You can see in my office all over reference maps. The maps are sometimes indicating areas that are inaccessible, like Guzamala, like Abadam. So that's why if you observe IDPs from Abadam, in the spirit of respecting the Kampala Convention and other UN guiding principle of return, we didn't take them to Abadam. Deliberately, we took them to Auno. We feel that it is relatively safe. So wherever we are having distribution in those locations like Baga, like Manguno, Kalabalige, Dikwa, Ngala. Dikwa is even better. Ngala, Dambua, we are not finding it easy. So we always seek for heavy escort to go and deliver aid. And you know, the leadership has also gingered us to be very courageous. So you see the governor himself is going through all these difficult terrain, all these risky, high risk locations. They are labeled as high risk. You know, we have our labeling yellow, red, and also green. So far for now in Borno State, the green area is southern Borno. So governor, despite the fact that he's the #1 citizen and is taking this risk, so we that work alongside with him, we also see him as our leader and also copy from him. So that is some of our motivating factors. You know, we have facilitating factors, we have challenging and equally motivating factors in delivering humanitarian aid.
So I'm Director General State Emergency Management Agency, Abao Kolo. Thank you for being part of Borno Restoration.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
And that's That's our package on this edition of Borno Restoration. Thanks for watching. And from the close NYSC IDP camp in Maiduguri, I say, see you next time. Bye-bye.